month long, you can qualify for 0% APR financing for up to 60 months, plus $750 bonus cash on select models. Check them out at Calusi.com. Find new roads at Calusi Chevrolet.
Hugh Hewitt says Iran is dialing up the pressure.
Likely Iranian involvement in attacks on Saudi oil production over the weekend marks a new phase in this destabilizing campaign. Long-term damage to oil supplies would increase the pressure on U.S. to ease sanctions on Iranian oil exports. Not going to happen. The United States does not respond to terrorism by doing deals with terrorists.
The Hugh Hewitt Show, weekday mornings at 6, right before Mike Gallagher on AM 1250. The Answer.
Tim Tebow was right. Actually, Tim Tebow was right for the wrong reason, but Tim Tebow, anyway, isn't very well thought of among the sports media, mainly because most of them are liberal and he is a conservative Christian. But he got into a debate on ESPN last week with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. They're the co-hosts of an unwatchable show on ESPN called First Take. He was asked about the Fair to Play Act in California. It was passed unanimously last week by the California Senate. And it says that that college athletes have the right to be paid for the use of their name, likeness, and image, something that would get them disqualified right now if they were found to be taking money from sponsors. Most of the people in the sports media think that's a great idea because they see all the money being made by big-time college football and basketball, and they think the players are being exploited, which they are, but for a different reason. Here's what Tebow said.
I have a little credibility and knowledge about this because when I was at the University of Florida, I think my jersey was one of the top selling jerseys around the world. It was like Kobe, LeBron, and then I was right behind them, and I didn't make a dollar from it. But nor did I want to, because I knew going into college what it was all about. I knew going to Florida, my dream school, where I wanted to go, the passion for it, and if I could support my team, support my college, support my university, that's what it's all about. But now we're changing it from us. From my university, from being an alumni where I care, which makes college football and college sports special, to then, okay, it's not about us, it's not about we, it's just about me. And yes, I know we live in a selfish culture where it's all about us, but we're just adding and piling it onto that, where it changes what's special about college football. We turn it into the NFL, where who has the most money, that's where you go. That's why people are more passionate about college sports than they are about NFL. That's why the stadiums are bigger in college than they are in the NFL, because it's about your team. It's about your university. It's about where my family wanted to go. It's about where my grandfather had a dream of seeing Florida win an SEC championship. And you're taking that away so that young kids can earn a dollar. And that's just not where I feel like college football needs to go.
That's fair,
There's that opportunity in the NFL, but not in college football.
So it would drastically change college football and basketball, and the availability to sponsor money would be used to recruit kids, and so teams in certain markets would end up with an advantage. But where he's wrong is his romanticizing college sports, especially football and basketball, a little more than they deserve to be romanticized there. College football is a cesspool, so is college basketball. The NCAA should be allowed to have its rules, though, and it should be none of the government's business. The agreement between the players and the NCAA, as far as I know, is entered into mutually. Nobody's forcing anybody to make the deal. You play football or basketball, you get a free education. Well, here's what one of the co-hosts, Max Kellerman, a hopeless liberal, by the way, had to say.
Tim, as usual, I think you make a passionate case based on appealing to people's better angels and a positive message, and I really do appreciate that. Yeah. However, things can exist that we all enjoy that are based upon illegal practices. And what this California law is saying is, while there may be components of college football that we lose in the exchange, in fact, it's like, I find it obnoxious for the NCAA to say it's unconstitutional. In fact, it seems to me that exploitation of college labor, although I understand you perceive it differently, I'm talking about by the letter of the law, is in fact unconstitutional. So even though we all enjoy it, if it's based upon something that shouldn't be allowed to happen, then that needs to be addressed, and then we're going to have to adjust to the new reality, no?
Well, the reality is that that kids are already getting paid. We'll get to what they're making as far as not having to pay tuition and room and board and meals. So I guess that's not having to pay to go to college. But I have a friend who's been involved in high school football for a long time at a very good program where they send a lot of kids to college. And he has told me many times that these kids are getting paid cash money to go to school. And principals of schools and athletic directors at high schools are getting little bonuses from the colleges, not gigantic amounts of money, but, a few thousand here, a few thousand there, to maybe influence a kid to go to a school where a certain recruiter wants him to go. I know of one kid, I was told about one kid, he became an NFL quarterback a few years ago. He was a number one draft pick, not the number one pick, but a high number one pick from a major football program. And I was told that he was paid $150,000 by someone who wouldn't lie to me about something like that. So there's so much corruption and exploitation going on already that it's just ridiculous to hear the sports media jump all over Tim Tebow for saying what is true, and that is that it would change everything. I mean, you look at how corrupt it is already, with bogus courses being taken, kids being given grades they don't deserve, and how much, think about the level of corruption that would be added if the kids were allowed to get money for sponsors. You could have a booster. Let's just say you use Pitt for an example. Pitt could have a big-time booster, maybe a Pitt grad who owns a car dealership, and he could give a kid a big chunk of money for just taking a picture with him. Just say, hey, listen, I'll use it in my showroom. I'll put a picture of you and me up on the wall, and here's $1,000. So that you'd be getting. So then the NCAA, of course, with its just ridiculous bureaucratic red tape, would have this thrown into what they already are trying to manage, which they don't do a very good job of. They'd be trying to manage whether or not people are honestly being paid for endorsements, and they'd have to spread the money around. It would be an absolute nightmare. And again, as you see this debate going on, it's going to keep going on because it's getting now that these idiots in California, this state that can't keep poop off the street, they've decided they're going to fix college football. They've now opened it up by passing a law so other states could follow, and then you're going to have all kinds of issues because the government's getting involved. But the government should stay out of it. But just be aware and pay attention and check out how many people in the sports media will even mention that the government getting involved is wrong and unnecessary and will make it worse, which it would do. Now, here's a guy named Dave Zirin. This is, and I'm doing this topic today because I think it's a big deal. College football, there's racist accusations going on here. Tim Tebow being called a racist for not wanting these kids to be played. As everybody knows now that most college football players are black. I don't know what the percentage is. In the NFL, it's something like 70. It's probably 70 maybe for the NFL. But here's what Dave Zirin, writing for The Nation, which is a raging liberal publication, he said, this is how he refers to Tim Tebow: a former college Heisman Award-winning quarterback, current inept minor league baseball player, and potential future GOP senatorial candidate. So he had to throw all the stuff in there. Tim Tebow, of course, because he doesn't want these black athletes to be paid. He's obviously a future GOP candidate, because, of course, anybody who's in the GOP is racist until proven otherwise. And he also makes this, even though college sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry where coaches make millions, the players have no rights and make no income, the business model has more than a, quote, whiff of a plantation. So you got to bring up the plantation reference. And then he says, Tebow's rant, nowhere does he mention that unlike most college football players, he grew up in relative wealth, never having to worry about his next meal. And he certainly doesn't mention how racist the NCAA system is, a system that pays overwhelmingly white coaches, administrators, and NCAA officials obscene salaries, but relies on overwhelmingly black labor to sell out stadiums while receiving a shrunken education for their troubles. Now, notice that there's no mention of academics there. And the fact that these kids are getting about $250,000 worth of education when you throw in room and board and all that stuff. And he says Aaron says, if future Tim Tebows want their value to go into the pockets of their coaches, that's fine. But players who want to actually earn something for their blood, sweat, and tears would have the freedom to be able to do that as well. College tuition, $250,000. And remember, not everybody in the playing college football is the star quarterback or the star running back or the star pass rusher or the guy with the big name. It's the offensive guard you never heard of. He's also getting $250,000, which is pretty good for a guy doing that. And this is the kind of stuff that Tebow had to put up with because of what he said. This is from Thomas Jones. He's a former All-American from Virginia. This is in Zieren's column. He says, Tim, most of us college and daddy sending us care packages and a weekly allowance like you, and almost all of us black collegiate athletes were barely eating after the dining halls closed and struggling to pay rent and put gas in our cars. You know this. Sit down. Now, what about, of course, Thomas Jones doesn't mention the black non-athletes. What about them? They have to pay. They have to come up to go to those schools. They have to come up with a couple $100,000 over 4 or 5 years and pay for their own food. And they're not every white kid going to Alabama or Mississippi or Ohio State is from a rich family. Lots of kids have to struggle to get through. Their parents have to struggle to get through. And then when they come out of college, they owe a lot of money to somebody, and they have to pay it back. And then you have what these kids are majoring in. To give you an idea, this is the stuff that the sports media doesn't pay enough attention to. This is the list of the most popular majors for each school in the SEC. That's the best conference in college football. Alabama didn't make it available. Arkansas, recreation and sport management. Auburn, liberal arts, enrolled in school and education. That's all they'll say. Florida, social and behavioral sciences. Georgia, it's management. Kentucky, undergraduate studies. What could that be? What does that say? Who goes and majors in undergraduate studies? LSU, human science and education. You can just tell by the names of these courses and these majors of how much fooling around you could do with these majors and make up stuff as you go along. Mississippi State, kinesiology. Missouri, sport management. South Carolina, sports and entertainment management. Tennessee, recreation and sports management. Texas A&M, recreation, parks and tourism sciences. And Vanderbilt, which is a really good school and a tougher school, communication studies. So this is something that the media and guys like Zieren won't talk about, that the exploitation starts way back in high school when these black athletes coming from bad urban schools are being graduated with 4th and 5th grade level reading and math proficiency. And you even had it in North Carolina where they had kids who were illiterate playing football and basketball at the University of North Carolina. But they don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about the money that these guys don't make instead of all the stuff they are getting, which is more than they deserve. And we will be right back.
For more than 10 years now, Food for the Poor has had an effective and efficient ratio of more than 95% of all donations that come in going directly back to the poor and the programs that serve the poor.
I'm John Steigerwald with Food for the Poor's Paul Jacobs on how your generosity is making a difference for families in Haiti.
Well, first of all, it's life-changing. A family of 4 will receive food for a year and water for life with that gift of $320. In fact, a listener can say, hey, I'd like to break this up over the next 12 months. You can seriously think about budgeting $27 a month over the next 12 months, not forever. And that will effectively provide a Haitian family, a family of 4, food for a year and water for life through the Ministry of Food for the Poor, ministering to the poorest of the poor in the grips of a humanitarian crisis that, quite frankly, most in Haiti have said we have not seen it this bad since the earthquake of 2010.
Your $320 gift today will provide a family of 4 food for a year and water for life. Visit theanswerpgh.com/hope and help as many as you can. That's theanswerpgh.com/hope.
Regenerate me.
Regenerate me.
Please regenerate me.
Why suffer with joint pain? There's a new treatment that offers more potential than stem cell therapy. At Regenerate Me Pittsburgh, now in Bethel Park, certified medical professionals offer advanced biological therapies, also known as ABT. A full recovery without surgery or drugs is possible. Get a complete diet, your first treatment for just $100 for a limited time. See if you qualify. Call 412-851-3811. 412-851-3811.
Community Bank,
City Mission,
#1 Cochrane,
Highmark Stadium,
Peters Township Community Center,
Angelo's Restaurant.
What do all these businesses have in common?
Nello Construction.
Design and build with one company.
Nello Construction.
Full service construction from the ground up.
Renovation. Expansion.
Nello Construction, the choice for business.
See the projects.
Begin the journey
at nelloconstruction.com.
Hey, Pittsburgh, this is Tunch Ilkin from my good friends at Calusi Chevrolet. This month, you could qualify for 18% off the MSRP on select models of the all-new redesigned 2019 Silverado pickup. That's over $9,300 in savings on select Silver All-Stars. The team at Calusi has been serving Pittsburgh for over 100 years, so you can buy with confidence. Check them out at Calusi.com. Find new roads at Calusi Chevrolet.
From the creators of War Room, the Kendrick brothers return to the big screen with Overcomer.
Why have a season with one runner?
One runner matters.
John Harrison is a frustrated coach questioning his value until he crosses paths with a student struggling on her own journey.
What have you allowed to define you?
Overcomer, now playing. Starring Alex Kendrick and Priscilla Shirer. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Visit overcomermovie.com.
You started your business with nothing but a great big idea. They told you it couldn't be done, but that just made you work harder to prove them wrong. Now look at you, ready to take on the world. Speed Pro Pittsburgh South gets where you're coming from. When they said they wanted to create great big graphics for great big ideas like yours in less time than anyone else, they were told it couldn't be done. Speed Pro Pittsburgh South just smiled and said, "Oh yeah? Watch us." When you need a large format printing partner who can provide high quality visual graphics in stunning detail, from trade show displays to outdoor signs, 3M brand vehicle wrap for your fleet, to window graphics, banners, and decals, Speed Pro Pittsburgh South can handle most jobs in 2 days or less, and can roll with last-minute change-ups without breaking a sweat. Who says it can't be done? For a free quote, visit speedpropghsouth.com.
You're listening to the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250. The Answer.
Do you have access to water? How far do you walk for water?
The water is far. I have to walk a long distance to get to a string. It's more like a hole in the ground. Sometimes we have to sleep by the water point to wait for the water to come out. So it's really hard for us to get the water.
Have you already made the journey to get water today?
Yes, we went this morning, but it's almost already done.
So will you go again, or just nobody drinks until tomorrow?
No, yeah, we'll go tomorrow if God allows.
That was Anitra Parmalee of Food for the Poor, and she joins us now. So, Anitra, you have been to Haiti in the last several months. What's changed? Anything for the good or the worse for people in Haiti since then?
Well, so many of us know Haiti as a poor country, but what you may not understand is they are in the grip of a humanitarian crisis. It's almost a perfect storm of suffering, if you will. A drought that is extended for a long period of time. Access to food and water has been irony because of the rainy season. After such a drought, even when they do get rain, it's just puddling on the top of the ground. It's not even nourishing the ground. And it causes flooding, which in turn cuts off their access So the humanitarian crisis that they're in the midst of is unimaginable. And I think that that's what has moved us to invite you to step into that suffering, to say to a mother in Haiti, your prayers have been answered. Mm-hmm. They long for food for their children. They don't even think of themselves, but anything they get, a handful of rice, they give immediately to their children. I met mothers who hadn't been able to feed their children for 2-3 days, where access to water was an hour walk up a mountain. And at 3:00 in the afternoon, 95 degrees, sweat pouring off of us, they would say, the water's done.
So you'd get there and it'd be gone.
And I would say, will you make another trip? No, it's too dangerous. The rocks shift when we're walking. And I thought, what do you do when you have to carry, you know how heavy a 24-pack of bottled water is. Imagine having to carry enough water for your family to last for an entire day. That means no bathing, little cooking. I mean, the only water you have is for survival. And to look at a bottle of water now and think, I can be a part of the answer for a woman in Haiti, for a mother in Haiti, is exciting to me and is the reason for this day of hope.
And before we go any further, the website is theanswerpgh/hope. And the landline is 855-358-4673. That's 358-HOPE for people who want to donate to Food for the Poor. So I should point out that just a donation of $80 to Food for the Poor is water for life for one child. So what you just described there, $80 provides one of those kids with water for life.
Right, and I love the double entendre of that. When we say food for a year and water for life, food I can understand.
Right.
2 meals a day, I understand hunger.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I ever understood the lack of water because think of your house. It could come out of the kitchen sink. It could be if I had to, I could drink out of the spigot for my garden. But these people in Haiti, the access to water that they do have is filthy and causes disease. So Food for the Poor is able to provide water for life because we build a community location, water filtration, well, pipe system, whatever is suggested by the topography. And then we maintain it. So it's not just for this year, next year. It's for this generation. So your gift is indeed providing food for a year and water for life.
So instead of that trek up the mountain to get the water, where do they go to get their water? I mean, how will this change for them?
She would go to a centralized area in the community. She would take her buckets or her jerry cans, whatever she wants to carry, and she would open the tap and clean water would flow out. And I've had the opportunity to see the families react to that, the joy. I mean, there's a before and after that words cannot even describe, the joy. Because for that mother, it means no longer does she have to pray over her water, please don't let this make my children sick, or even take their life.
And what do we take more for granted than being able to go to the faucet in our homes and forget the bottled water, just to go over to turn the faucet on and get a drink of water if you want?
Seriously, think about the last time that the water company notified you, okay, we're going to need to turn it off, or you had renovations. Yeah. And all the ways that inconvenienced you. And I love, somebody said on their donation, I gave not out of guilt, but out of gratitude. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having an abundance of clean, safe water. What I'm encouraging you is to think about, can you exchange $80 to provide that for a child?
For life.
For a family of 4 for life. That seems like an exchange that is pretty wonderful.
And once again, that's just $80 will give food for a year and water for life for one child. $160 is food for a year and water for life. Anitra Parmalee, thank you very much.
Diplomacy is the way to work this out.
While the foreign minister of Iran is threatening all-out war to fight to the last American, we're here to build out a coalition aimed at achieving peace.
South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey can't get away.
Deterrence is going to require a military response that will create some amount of pain, so they'll be less likely to do this again. And to me, it's not an all-out war scenario unless Iran wants it to be.
Iran's foreign minister says they will have a lot of casualties, but they won't blink to
about ordering Relief Factor. Pat Boone again for this wonderful 100% drug-free.
Spring, your lawn will be so thick, green, and strong, neighbors like Steve over there will be mad green with envy.
Hey, sweet lawn, Stevie.
Steve.
Don't be a Steve. Be a lawn guy. Pick up a bag of Scott's Turf Builder today. This is a Scott's Yard.
Dennis Prager says the left is not hiding its agenda.
The left's threat to everything we treasure is unprecedented in American history. By the way, this is not a charge, it's a description. They admit it. They acknowledge that they have contempt for the West, contempt for the Judeo-Christian value system, contempt for the Constitution.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays, Sebastian at 3 on AM 1250. The Answer.
If you're worried about market volatility or the possibility of losing money in the next market crash, the time to act is now. Effective financial management involves identifying opportunities. And with a 10-year bull market run, markets around all-time highs, and a highly contested election cycle right around the corner, we have an opportunity now to protect what's important. Don't risk losing a significant portion of your life savings in the next market downturn. Call Hunt & Associates today, 844-366-HUNT. That's 844-366-4868.
Homeowners love their Pella windows and doors, and we love how happy we made Susan from Sewickley.
I just have to tell you, this bay window is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's fantastic. It really is beautiful. I mean, beautiful.
Can we install some happiness for you? Right now, get 50% off installation or 18 months, no payments, no interest. Call for your free consultation. We'll come to you. 888-78-PELLA, PellaPittsburgh.com.
This is Jay Hagerman of Abernathy & Hagerman. Upon your passing, you wouldn't want a judge to decide who raises your children or how your estate gets divided. It is important to review your estate planning documents to ensure they protect what matters most. At Abernathy & Hagerman, we will work with you to establish an estate plan that nominates a guardian for your minor children and that your assets are used for your family's benefit. Judge for yourself. For legal help that lasts a lifetime, visit a-h.law.
Do you or your business have financial problems? Are you overwhelmed with debt? Then call me, Attorney Dennis Spira, at 412-471-7675. My legal practice concentrates on bankruptcy law, debtor rights, and tax matters. I have over 30 years' experience as a former United States Department of Justice bankruptcy attorney and lawyer in private practice. I have represented thousands of cases faced with financial problems and lawsuits. Reorganize and get a fresh start. Call 412-471-7675 or visit my website at dennisspira.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer.
The west, very heavy inbound from volume 79 all the way down to the Fort Pitt Tunnel. Outbound delays 79 to Campbell's Run Road, especially busy. Parkway East, that's also heavy outbound. Boulevard of the Allies to Edgewood, Swissvale. Watch out for accidents. Got one at 5th Avenue at Washington Place and in Penn Hills, Allegheny River Boulevard at 1:30. That's a look at traffic. I'm Jenny Robinson.
AM 1250, The Answer. Weather.
Looking very nice this evening, clear and comfortable tonight, the low 54. Tomorrow, another beautiful looking day with plenty of sunshine, a warm afternoon. A high tomorrow right around 80. Partly cloudy, milder tomorrow night, low 61. And will stay quite warm for Saturday with sunshine becoming mixed with some clouds. High Saturday, 82 degrees. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Danielle Niddle.
This is the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250 and FM 92.5. The Answer.
I won't be using a straw at dinner tonight, even though I'll be meeting my wife at a restaurant for dinner. I only use a straw when I'm driving, with a paper cup, the plastic lid on it, and I'm driving in my car. I do that because I'm trying to do my best to save the planet. Actually, I do that because I just don't need a straw unless I need one. Ellie Rufkin is is saving the planet and is a nice. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is that saving the planet is a nice unintended consequence, or is it? Ellie Rufkin is a breaking news reporter at the Washington Examiner and a senior contributor to the Federalist. She's written a piece about straws and shoots a lot.
For a lot of people.
So. This that would put people in prison for life for putting cigarette butts on the sidewalk. I'm not a big government guy, but if someone wants to come up with that, I might think cigarette.
I know a lot of people smoking, and I that of them.
Milkshake. She just a few weeks ago she was in California.
Paper just counter
to a place where I always go up there. I got to go, and so it came, and the salad. As soon as they gave it to me, I said, "I'm not drinking." First of all, I don't use it that often, but this is one time when I did, because I was in the car, and I'm not drinking out of this. So it's just all about emotion. It makes you feel good to give somebody a paper straw while you're giving them plastic cutlery. Knife, food, and knife, spoon, and fork. So it's just and big deal right now. It's actually a topic around the country, isn't it?
Yeah, it's come. Bans are almost every major city. I live in Washington D.C. An act. You're walking down the street.
It's about the stupidity of the straw ban, the plastic straw ban. But you and I. Like telling people straws that in before you go in there, how'd you like a straw? Only $5.
I don't. I hope it sounds. More concerning than plastic straws. It's a similar ban. So I hesitate to even imagine what could potentially be taken away.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of everything. You quoted in straws.
That it gives people kind of moral to abide by the straw. by, a that you can't do something that you've always done and you don't agree with.
I think we lost her. Well, okay. I think we're pretty much up against the commercial anyway, aren't we? Yeah, but
that we've done our whole lives is not something that we're used to.
I wanted to say that the